Okay, let's move on to consumer surplus. So I've got those same inverse demand and demand functions, and I would ask maybe a question: what is the consumer surplus for quantity demanded of 30? All right, now when we get a little bit farther, so by next week, hopefully we'll start understanding why this quantity consumer surplus is even useful, or why we care about it. For now, it just seems like a number we're calculating, and it kind of is for now. But it is an important quantity you should know about. So. What is the consumer quantity? So I might ask this: what is the consumer surplus for a quantity demanded of 30 given a particular demand curve? All right, so what do we even mean by that? Well, as we just talked about, the marginal benefit for 1 unit is the height of the demand curve. So here's my 1 unit, and this is how much I'm willing to pay for my 1 unit. And you could imagine I could do that for the second unit, the third unit, the fourth unit, and so on. So, or however many down to the 30th unit. I value the next unit less and less and less due to my diminishing marginal utility for whatever this particular good is, but I'm still willing to pay something for it, and so that's what we're seeing here. So eventually, once I get 30 of them, this is sort of how much I would value the next unit. So I wouldn't be up at my choke price. I would be down here at some lower value. So if I summed all of those sorts of things, then that would give me my marginal benefit. So if I sum of all those marginal benefits, that kind of gives me my benefit that I'm getting out of buying 30 units. So you could imagine I get some benefit for the first unit, I get less benefit for the second, I get less benefit for the third, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's those are the kind of the gross benefits that I'm getting for buying 30 of these units. But in the end, I actually have to buy 30 of these units. So I might get, say, $100 worth of value from the first one, but I had to spend, 30, or I had to spend whatever this price is in order to get that. So even if I get $100 worth of value, if I had to spend $50, I'm only going to get $50 out of it. So that's this idea about net benefits here. So the area in between these lines, in between the price that I paid and the demand curve, represents all of the net benefit I get. So it's all of the excess. So it would be dumb for me to buy any more if, how to say this, if, so right now I'm kind of artificially setting a price of 50 or whatever, or a quantity of 30, and I'm saying what benefit do I get for buying these 30, and so when we eventually allow the consumers to meet the producers, then we'll sort of see that if a producer sets a price, it's kind of dumb for you to buy more than the quantity that, like, at the point where you end up buying things where you get a negative, like it would be stupid for if a producer, let's say, set the price to your choke price, it would be dumb for you to get to buy any of it, because anything you buy would end up giving you a negative net benefit, because you would have to spend more than you're getting out of it. So this is somehow capturing the idea that we lost out on cost. There were other things we could have done with our money, and we can't do those things anymore. But we're okay with that because these are the extra benefits we got by buying this good. So we can calculate the price here for 30 units, and so I have to keep in mind that inverse demand, I know the demand, 30, and I want to figure out the price, and so I plug it into my inverse demand function, and I get 40, so that's going to be a 40 right there. And the area of this triangle that's got 40, so it's got 100 minus 40 on this leg, and it's got 30 on this leg, so it's got the quantity demanded on one leg, and the difference between the choke price and the price paid on the other leg, and we just calculate the area of that, and it's just going to be 0.5 times one leg times the length of the other leg. So 0.5 times 30 times 60, and that's equal to 900, and that's just the formula for the area of a triangle, and that's how we get the consumer surplus. Now, I could alternatively say not what's the consumer surplus for a particular quantity demanded, but I could say what's the consumer surplus if I set the price equal to something in particular. And it's the same thing, but basically I need to, if I know one coordinate, I need to know the other coordinate. If I know price, I need to know quantity demanded. Once I know both, I can calculate the area of this square. So this triangle. So before I gave you the quantity demanded, and you calculated price, and that's how we got this. Now I'm doing it the other way around. So in that case, I just go to my demand function, and I take, Q, if I plug in 70, that's the price. I say how many am I willing to buy if the price is 70, and I find out it is 15. So I'm going to put a 15 there, and now I've got 15 on this leg, I've got 30 on this leg, that's 100 minus 70 is 30. So half of 15 times 30 is 225. So that's my consumer surplus for that per unit price. And that's it. That's consumer surplus. All right, so the next step is market demand. But before we do that, I want you to go back to Canvas and then answer a couple of questions to make sure everybody's on board with this consumer surplus idea. So go back to that, and I'll see you once you're done with that.